I think the organization team of ISEA, it's a very fabulous event. Thank you for the reviewers of the paper, that they have very chirurgic comments on my contribution. And of course, thank you for your presence. Well, the material I compiled in this presentation, Post-Human Motherhoods, Reflections on Mother-Offspring Bonding as Symbiotic Individuation in Contemporary Art, is part of an artistic research influenced by my own experience as media artist becoming a mother. While pregnant, I was curious to know what artistic expressions emerged from the intersection among motherhoods, technofeminisms, and post-humanism in the arts, and soon I found out that there were neither an abundance of examples, nor this intersection has been sufficiently circumscribed in the academic field. So therefore, the initial curiosity became my current postdoctoral research at the Valley Export Center and the University of Arts in Linz in Austria. In a dominant social organization with patriarchal structures and multi-layered gender inequalities, motherhood is still seen as a counterproductive aspect for women emancipation, inclusive within specific feminist perspectives. The conciliation between mothering and the management of an artistic career is a challenge that has been especially hampered by the modus operandi of both art schools and the art market. Aiming to dig into this problem, I started the project Where Are the Media Artists' Mothers and Other Parents, which also integrates an online survey. Due to the lack of motherhood and related topics in the media art, I look with special attention at a specific profile of mothers, artists that are also technologists, creating their proposals in the intersections between scientific and technological knowledge, whose artworks and performances reveal sorts of media thinking, critical approaches to techno-cultures and/or techno-feminist perspectives. To which extent does the rare presence of mothering issues in media art mirror the gender gap of the tech industry? How mechanic, hybrid, and post-human can media artists' parenting be? Among other concerns, I investigate what would be the measures to be taken to welcome better media artist mothers in the production context, to populate media art with more constructive and empowering perspectives of post-human motherhoods, and therefore to enrich the art and technology environment with a higher variability of imaginaries. Observing collected examples and my research interests, it emerged the general approach towards motherhood in my research, expressed in this diagram. It depicts the abstraction thinking behind the comprehension of motherhood through an expanded concept of mother towards a more inclusive term parenting, and it circumscribes the operations usually associated to mothering, its relationships to other bodies, as well as the appropriation of the concept in the non-human contexts. In the human case, these operations also can be associated to the sequence of topics involved in the reproductive cycle, encompassing the concerns around fertility, through the fecundation itself, the transformative aspects of pregnancy and gestation, the birth giving itself, to procedures and ethics of offspring care. US-American artist and technologist Annie Liu, who in mid-2022 had a solo exhibition in New York titled Ecologies of Care, shows a diverse series of speculative artworks that invite us to reflect on the invisibility of reproductive and child care labor. At Untitled, Labor of Love, Liu builds a data portrait recording every feed and diaper change for the first 30 days of postpartum. The coincidence of the terms labor and love in this piece addresses precisely the ambivalences that pave the culturally constructed perversion in devaluating creative generative work in multi-layered contexts, from the reproductive work itself to the art context. In order to turn the repetitive and exhausting care work demanded by a newborn visible, the artwork also portrays a way of thinking inspired in the ongoing big data technological environment, where we are responsible for curating what is the relevant data to turn as information through data visualization. Liu's piece suggests love as the strong element fostering the mother-baby bonding, which is neither certain nor unanimous among all cases of mother-spring relationships. Now, connecting to ISEA topic, would symbiosis be the key towards healthy mother-child relationships, despite all the ambivalences of mothering? How does the bonding emerge and is regulated? How does the symbiosis aspects emerge in artistic expressions? Part of the answers to the aforementioned questions we may find through an investigation of the possible ways through which affectivity is generated. Observing the very material basis of mother-offspring bonding, it starts on the physical and chemical exchange between cells within the mother's womb, from which embryo and placenta emerge. Professor Majorline Ohl places the placenta as a fetal and maternal place and time-making boundary, and discusses how the placenta materializes a model of affective symbiogenesis where selves come into existence. Despite the scientific advancements on the creation of artificial placentas, both the conceptual and material presence of the organ in contemporary media art is practically inexistent. Among the rare cases, one can mention the participation of the Japanese Nobuya Uno at the Symposium of Ars Electronica 2000, The Next Sex, where he presents an article on the development of an artificial placenta. Intrigued by the metamorphoses I have gone through while I was pregnant, facts and findings of my research, it emerged these two projects, Placenta Interface and Abstracted Placenta, both appraising the placenta's amazing qualities as interface. The latter is a luminous sculpture as a homage to the uncountable wasted placentas by medical teams. It displays the change from the glycemic control values systematically collected in the week when I discovered I had gestational diabetes. As a multitask and self-regulated organ, placenta is considered to have its own consciousness, characteristics suggested by the pulsating light animating the glass piece. Besides the very material basis of the mother-offspring bonding, one can also approach the dynamics of the relationships that emerge through the care activities, communication, and above all, through the eagerness of babies and children to play and engage with interaction. Playing permeates the most varied human cultures, extraordinarily demonstrated by the Belgian artist Francie Alice with the project Children's Games featured recently at the Venice Biennale, The Milk of Dreams, integrating the exhibition The Nature of the Game. Playing is embedded in social life and its dynamic shape modes of existing and interacting with the environment in which subjects are relating with, influencing the communication processes and the quality of the relationship between subjects. Playing is also key entrance toward a neuroaffective approach of a healthier development for both child and family. Fair play, different subjects, fair play between different subjects requires a respectful positioning towards the corresponding authorities, principles that may be discussed from the multitude of perspectives. In the context of this paper and its affinity to issues emerging from the intersection between art and post-humanism, two main epistemological frameworks integrate our investigation, namely the notion of nature cultures introduced by Donna Haraway and the second-order cybernetics. To simplify how artists currently materialize and articulate post-humanist issues regarding human reproduction and mothering, I bring here briefly some examples, and one of them is the installation Gênesis, Dinâmicas de Organismos Artificiales, by Ana Laura Cantera, Daniel Álvares Olmedo, and Leonardo Eduardo Madio, which consists of a symbolic recreation of a gestation of artificial organisms that will interact with the visitors by means of programmable, robotic, experimental devices in artificial context of water, movement, and light. Post-humanism as a radical onto-existential resignification of the notion of the human considers the significant otherness and the inseparability between nature and culture. And regarding the mechanic agency, we cannot ignore the mutual influence between human and machines also in the conception and exercise of operationalities related to mothering and parenting. Another post-humanist perspective regarding motherhood can be discussed through the project Hybrid Family by Slovenian artist Maja Smreka, who inquired into the existential and political instrumentalization of a woman's body as breastfeeding. By means of a 3-month performance with her dog and systematically pumping her breasts every 3 hours, the artist stimulated her own hypophysis to release the prolactin. At the same time, she fed a diet rich in galactogens to promote lactation, which in turn stimulated an increase in the oxytocin. By becoming a mother, the artist experienced and demonstrated the nature culture coined by Donna Haraway and continues to explore a reproductive freedom in a multi-species world. If nature is injustice, change nature. From this standing point, the performance embraces simultaneously xeno and ecofeminism, interspecies relations, as well as a critical perspective on technology and ideological structures in society. Organ of Radical Care, Una Matriz Colaborativa, aims to grow a collaborative uterus from the menstrual blood of multiple women, trans, non-binary people, and perhaps even incorporating male cells. A glass chalice has been designed for the endometrial cells, and the cells have to come from anonymized uterus donors, and the aim is simply to see if they can be kept alive in the chalice. In a previous project, in Poça, in collaboration with Dr. Susana Chuva de Souza Lopes, Charlotte Jarves had the mission to make female semen. The artworks examples briefly presented here shed light into both the very human issues related to mother and parenting, the invisibility of reproductive and care work within an unbalanced social structure, and the post-human experimentations that expand and challenge the core of motherhood-related operations. Together, they give us a series of questions to reflect on the entanglements between motherhood, art, and technology, despite the rare presence of the topic in the realm of media art. In response to these still enduring inequalities addressed by feminists, it's time to find concrete strategies to reduce the gender-based technological gap in media art. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention. I'm looking forward to your comments, questions, contributions at any level. Do we have time?
Merci beaucoup, Graziele.